are going to learn chapter 2, that is National Income Accounting. I am sure that you might have heard about this concept called as national income. What is the meaning of national? National is nothing but the nation, the entire country. So today we are going to learn about the income of the entire nation or the income of the entire country, which is called as national income. So national income accounting is the chapter 2nd under macroeconomics, which we are going to learn today. Let us understand first as to what is the meaning of national income. So national income is nothing but the total money income which is earned. So when we speak about the total money earned in a country, when we speak about the income or the money which is earned in a country is called as national income. Now, how this money is earned? This money is earned by using the goods as well as the services. So, total number of goods and services which are produced in a country in 1 year. When we are speaking about the national income, we have to consider the goods as well as the services. So, what are the goods as well as the services? And these goods and services must be produced in a country in a year. In 1 year, what are the number of goods and services which are produced in a country? And these goods and services, when we are counting about the national income, we have to also include the income which is earned from abroad. So what is the income that we have got from abroad? The people who are working in abroad, they have gone to the other countries, and those who are residing in abroad, so those people who are working, so that income is also included in national income. So in today's class, we are going to learn many interesting topics. So to start with some of the concepts of the national income, we start with first as the final goods. When we are speaking about the goods and services, when we are saying that the national income is nothing but the goods and services which are produced in a country. So which are the goods and services? These goods and services can be categorized into many categories. So the first type of goods and services we are talking about is called as the final good. So what is final good? A very interesting example I can give you all here. We all drink tea. So when we are speaking about the final goods, these final goods do not go into the process of transformation. What is the meaning of that? So when we are speaking about the final goods, they do not get into transform. These are the final commodities. These are the final goods which we are consuming. So when we are consuming that, they will not go into any process of changes. Now, as I have given you an example of tea. All of us drink tea. So, to make tea, what are we using? We use tea leaves, isn't it? Now, when we are speaking about the final goods, how this tea is prepared? Now, when we find that most of the items which are cooked in our kitchen, when the cooking is done in a kitchen, this tea is also made in a kitchen. Now, when we are making tea in a kitchen, these tea leaves are transformed. We are using these tea leaves and we are making a tea by using these tea leaves. So, these tea leaves go into the process of transformation. We change those tea leaves, we transform those tea leaves and we brew it and we get a cup of tea. So when we are having a cup of tea which is made in our home, it is called as a final goods. But we cannot consider this tea which is made in our home as an economic activity. So, when we are speaking about the final goods and the transformations, so we can take an example of tea leaves, but when these tea leaves we are using and we are making tea, we cannot consider it as an economic activity. So, why we cannot consider it as an economic activity? Because this tea is made at home. We have made this tea at home, and so we cannot consider it as an economic activity, and also we are not selling it. We are having this tea is made at home and we are having it, so it is not sold anywhere, and so we cannot consider it as an economic activity. So, when we speak about the final goods, when we are talking about final goods, same tea, when you go to a restaurant, what happens there? You pay for it. So, when you go to the restaurant and you order for a cup of coffee or you order for a cup of tea. So, when you are having a cup of coffee or you are having a cup of tea, it is considered as an economic activity. So, why we consider this as an economic activity? Because we are paying for it. So, when we speak about economic activity, any payment which is made in a restaurant, in a hotel you have been or you are going there and you are buying a commodity, and when we make the payment for it, then it is called as a final good, or it is also considered as an economic activity. So, when we are speaking about the economic activity, the same tea when we are having from a restaurant, the same tea when we are having from a restaurant and you are paying for it, when we pay for it, when you are making a payment for it, it is considered as an economic activity. So, when we are speaking about national income, as I have already mentioned that national income is nothing but the total number of goods and services which are produced in a country. It refers to the total national income is nothing but the total number of goods as well as services, goods and services which are produced in a country in a year. So, when we are speaking about the goods and services, the first classification of a good that we have studied is called as final good. So, as I have given an example, when we are considering or talking about a final good, this commodity when you buy from the market, it should be an economic activity, and final goods usually do not go into the process of transformations. Yes, they do not change, they are consumed as it is. Now, when we are speaking about final good, it can be categorized into two, that is the consumption good as well as the capital goods. So, under the final good, we have a category which is called as an consumption good. What is the meaning of consumption good? So, consumption goods are those goods which are consumed by us. We consume those commodities. Which are those commodities that we consume? So, it includes the commodities like food, the commodities like clothing. You have food items. Under food you can have beverages, or you can have cold drinks you are having. That is also an economic activity. And you are buying a cloth from the market and you are using those clothes and you are wearing them. That is also an economic activity. Or you are buying a mobile phone. So, very interesting topic, because now when we are talking about these online classes, these phones are playing a very important role in our life and they have made our life quite easy. So, even the mobile phones can be considered as an consumption goods. So, when we speak about the consumer goods, it includes different types of commodities which we consume. A consumer is consuming the commodities, different food items clothing as well as the services. Different types of the services are also included under the consumption good. Further, we include recreation activities, transportation activities, so transport, or you include the different forms of recreation activities. All these activities are considered as an economic consumption goods. So, goods which are meant for consumption, those commodities which a customer is going to the market, a customer is buying these commodities from the market by making the payment. Remember that when we are speaking about an economic goods, or when we are speaking about the commodities which are produced in a country, we make the payments for it. When we are buying a food item, when you are buying a clothing, when you are buying a mobile phone or a drinks or the services or the transportations or the recreation activities, we will find that we are making payments for it. It is not available free in the market. So, when a customer is making a payment for such types of commodities, they are called as the consumption goods. A customer is consuming. I am just briefing once again. We are studying about the national income, and as I have already mentioned that national income is nothing but the total income which is produced in a country. And when we speak about the total income, we must take into consideration about the volume of the goods and services which are being produced. And so, to study about the volume of goods and services which is being produced, we are studying about the classifications of the goods. So, the first classification of the commodity which we are studying is called as the final goods. So, when we speak about a final goods, usually these commodities or these goods, they do not go in the process of transformation. They are consumed finally, they are not changing. Now, under this category, we have included the first classification which is called as consumption goods. What is the meaning of consumption goods? Consumption goods are nothing but a commodity which is consumed by the customer, a commodity which is consumed by a consumer, and we all are customers, we all are consumers, we are king, we have the power to choose the commodity. So, when we go to the market or when we buy the commodity from the market, we make the payments for such types of commodity. There are large variety of the commodity which a customer is consuming. When you go to the market, when we have studied about the market, you have studied that how a customer has many options to buy the commodity. We can select from what we like, we can select from what we want. So, when a customer is selecting or when a consumer is buying, he can buy a large variety of the commodities which are being there in the market. So, when we speak about consumption goods, these goods are meant for consumption directly by a customer. We are buying a food items, we are buying clothing, or we are buying variety of items which are there in the market. It also includes the recreation services, it also includes the different types of services which we are getting it from the market, that is called as a consumer good. The first classification which we have studied under the different concepts of macroeconomics. Next category of a commodity is called as capital goods. So, what is the meaning of capital goods? Usually, these capital goods are used in the process of production. So, when we are producing something, in the process of production, when we are producing something, when you are making something. So, when we are producing something, in this process of production, these capital goods are used. So, which are the capital goods? It includes tools. Under the capital goods, we are including tools, we are including machines, we are including under tools, machines, and also the roads as well as the railways. Roads and railways, they are considered under the capital goods. So when we speak about capital goods, let us understand first what is the meaning of capital goods. So capital goods are those goods which are used in the process of production. When you are making something, when we are producing something, they are like a tools, they are like a machines, different types of machines which are used in the factory to produce a final good. Roads, we are having roads, we are using railways. So these are the different types of machines, equipments, tools, even equipments we can include under these. So all these machines, you have equipments, you have tools, as well as different types of implements are there. So all these things can be included under the capital goods. So capital goods are those goods which are helpful in the process of production. When we are producing something, when we are producing a commodity, so to produce a commodity, we are using a capital goods, and that is the second classification of a commodity. Both the consumption goods as well as the capital goods, they come under the category of a final goods. Now, the next concept under the commodities when we are studying is about the intermediate goods. The second classification, intermediate goods. So, what is the meaning of intermediate goods? Intermediate goods usually act as the raw material. Yes, we are using them as the raw material in the process of production. When we are producing a commodity, when we are making a commodity, so to produce a commodity, we use these intermediate goods and we produce a final commodity. That is the meaning of that. So intermediate goods are nothing but the goods which are used in the process of production. For example, you take an example of steel, you take an example of copper. So steel we are using for making the pipelines, we are making from the steels, we are making a bicycle from that, and copper is used in making utensils. Many utensils we are making by using copper. So steel and copper are the two examples of intermediate commodities which we have mentioned here. Again, paint, we are using paint to paint the house, or pipelines or the tubes, etc. We make use of the pipelines, we make use of the tubes in our house. These all commodities are intermediate goods. They are acting as raw materials. We are using them as raw materials in the process of production. So two classifications we have studied. First is the final goods, which are consumed directly. They do not go in the process of transformation. But when we speak about the intermediate goods, they are not the final goods. They have to be transformed. When we are speaking about the steel, or when we are speaking about the copper, we will find that the steel and the copper, we are using it, they are acting as the raw materials. We are using this steel as well as the copper, and we are making vessels from that, or we are making a bicycle from that, or we are, suppose a paint we are using to paint a house, or we are using some other commodities as I have mentioned here about the tubes and the pipes, etc., which are acting as an intermediate commodities in the process of production. Coming to the next concept, that is the factors of production. I am sure that you have heard about this concept of factors of production, and you also know as to what is the meaning of factors of production. So factors of production is nothing but the factors like land, labor, capital as well as organization. Land, labor, capital and the organization are the four factors of production. And for these 4 factors of productions, we have rewards like rent, wages, interest as well as profit. So, when we speak about the factors of production, there are 4 factors of production. They are the land, then you have a labor, and you have a capital, and you have an organization. And for the land, we get rent, laborers will get wages, capital will get interest, and organization profit. Any organization is working, the purpose of any organization is to earn the profit. So, when we are speaking about the organization, it aims at to get the profit. So, these are the 4 factors of production like land, labor, capital as well as organization. And for the land, we get rent. Laborers, when they are working, what is the reward that they get? They get wages. And when we speak about capital, any capital, it is there in the market to get the interest. And any organization, any business activity, any organization when it is there or it is functioning, any business if it is there in the market, the main purpose of it is to get the profit. So, these are called as the 4 factors of production. As we have studied about the 4 factors of production, that is land, labor, capital as well as organization. And we know that the rewards that these 4 factors of production that they get, they are the rent, wages, interest as well as profit. The next concept that we have to study is about the stock as well as flow. So, what is the meaning of stock and flow, and what is the difference between stock and flow? By the concept itself, we can understand as to the meaning of stock is something which is in the form of a stock, and flow is something which is flowing. For example, the water which is there in the river, any river, and we will find the water in a river, it is flowing. This water is flowing. So, when the water which is flowing in a river is called as a flow. When we speak about stock, stock is nothing but a concept wherein we study about it at a particular point of time. At a particular point of time is a stock. And when we speak about flow, we study it in terms of a period of time. At a particular period of time, when we are speaking about it, that is called as a flow. So, stock is nothing but when we are studying about a concept at a particular point of time. They are defined as, stocks are defined at, they are defined when we are giving a definition, they are defined at a particular point of time, and flows are defined at a particular period of time. Next, when we are speaking about a stock, it is a constant concept, something which is constant, but a flow is a variable concept. It is varying. Flow concept is a variable concept. It is varying. It is not something which is constant. It is not something which is fixed, but stock is something which is fixed. Please remember, my dear students, we are studying about the next concept, that is stock as well as the flow, and what is the difference between stock and the flow. Stock, when you say, is nothing but it is defined at a particular point of time. At a particular point of time, at a particular moment of time, when we are studying about it is called as a flow, stock. But flow is nothing but at a particular period of time. So, when we say that it is studying or we are studying it at a particular period of time, it is a variable concept, it is varying. As I have given an example, the water in a river is flowing. The water is not something which is constant, but when we study about a stock of water in a tank, suppose there is a tank, a particular tank, and in this, suppose this is a tank, so how much water is there? In this tank, how much water is there? The amount of water, so we can measure the water is still here, this is called as stock. So, when we speak about stock, the amount of water which is there in a tank is a stock, and when we speak about the flow, this water, suppose there is a tap here and the water is flowing. So, from this tap, when we speak about a flow, a tap, a tank and a water which is flowing into the tank from a tap. So, per minute when we are calculating, so per minute how much water is going into the tank. When we are speaking about a flow, stock as well as a flow, when we are studying, just imagine there is a water tank, and in this water tank, how much is the amount of water? There is a tap and there is per minute how much water, amount of water. What is the amount of water which is flowing into a tank per minute is called as a flow. Both the concepts are different from each other. So, when we are speaking about these two concepts, you will find the difference. It refers to a flow, refers to a variable concept. So, water in a river which is flowing, water which is flowing into the tank. So, how much water, what is the amount of water which is flowing into the tank is called as the flow. Further, when we take an example of stock, the bank balance at a particular period of time, how much amount of money, how much bank balance is there. So, bank balance is suppose 5,000 rupees you are having in the month of October. So, in the month of October, the total bank balance was around 5,000 rupees, that is a stock. When we speak about the flow, so what is the bank interest? How much is the interest you have got from the bank from September to October? What is the amount of interest that you have got it? So, on the deposits that you have done in the bank. So, when we are speaking about the flow, the bank interest from September to October, what is the amount of interest that we are getting is a concept of flow. Further, when we speak about the stock, again it says that how many guests are there, how many number of guests have come for a function or for a program. So, guests who are there is a stock, and when we are speaking about the flow, it says that how many guests are arriving, how many guests are coming, how many are arriving, how many are coming from there. Stock means how many are already there, how many guests have already come, how many numbers are there, 10 guests are there, 15 guests are there, 20 guests are there, that is called as a stock. But when we speak about a flow, how many guests are arriving, how many of them are coming is called as a flow. Further, it says that some more examples of stocks, they are the unemployment. So, how many people of a country are unemployed in our country, or what is the total population of a country, what is our total population, that can be considered as a concept of stock. So, two concepts are there, stock as well as the flow. Both these concepts are entirely different from each other. When we speak about the stock, stock is something which is there at a particular, when we speak about the stock at a particular point of time, and when we are speaking about the flow, it means at a particular period of time. So, at a period of time, how much water is there in the tank, how much water has flown into the tank, what is the amount of water which is there in the tank, how much water is there in a river, and how many guests are coming, what is the bank interest, how much is the interest that we are getting in a bank. These all are the examples of a flow. When we take an example of stock, what is the bank balance? How much money is there in your bank? Unemployment, population, etc. can be considered as an example of stock. So as we have studied about the different types of commodities, that is capital goods, and under the classification of capital goods we have studied about the consumption goods and also the intermediate commodities we have studied. So when we are buying these goods and services, these goods and services or these capital goods, they will go into depreciation. So the next concept which we are going to learn today is about depreciation. Let us understand first what is the meaning of depreciation, or what do we mean by depreciation. So the meaning of the term depreciation is nothing but a wear and tear in capital goods. When we are using a machine, this machine will have some wear and tear when we are using it continuously. Machines, tools, equipments, etc. we have studied under the examples of capital goods. And also we have said about the railways, we have said about the roads, etc. So these railways, they will go into some repair, roads, they will get damaged and they will have some repair. Similarly, some tools as well as the equipments which we are using. So all the capital goods will have some wear and tear. So this wear and tear of capital goods is called as depreciation. We have also studied about a depreciation in currency. In a broader way, when we feel or when you see that a currency depreciates, Indian currency depreciates in terms of dollar. When we see the rate of exchange of Indian rupee to dollar, the rupee depreciates in terms of dollar. Similarly, when a currency depreciates, for example, the depreciation of dollar, when there is a depreciation of dollar, this depreciation of dollar has affected the British economy. The entire economy has been affected because of the depreciation of a currency. So when a currency depreciates, it influences the entire economy because the rates of exchanges are depends on that, or it is depending on that. So a depreciation is a concept which means a wear and tear. Suppose we buy a car, and when we buy a car, we know that its value is going to depreciation. The depreciation will be around 57% over the years, or some years when we take into consideration. So over the years, the depreciation rate will be around 57%. Or further, suppose you can take an example that suppose we have you have purchased a truck. Now, how much money we have paid to purchase a truck? For example, when we speak about a depreciation, we have taken an example of a truck. Suppose I have purchased one truck and the amount of money which I have spent on buying this truck is 10 lakh. 10 lakh is my gross investment. The total money which I have invested in buying this truck is 10 lakh. Now, what is the depreciation? Suppose that the amount of depreciation which I have to spend for the repair, for the wear and tear is around 20,000 every year. So 20,000 is the amount of money which I am spending in the wear and tear or the depreciation charges of a truck. So what is my net investment? So see here, net investment is equal to gross investment minus depreciation. So what is my gross investment? My gross investment in buying a truck is rupees 10 lakh, And what is the depreciation charges is 20,000 per year. So, I have taken, suppose for 5 years I am spending 2 lakhs. So, 10 lakhs minus 2 lakh. So, what is my net investment? My net investment would be 8 lakh rupees. The net money that I have spent in buying a truck is around 8 lakh rupees. Similarly, we can take an example of a car also. Suppose when we speak about the depreciation, a car that I have purchased and I know that the value of this car would depreciate around 57% in the coming years. So, what is the depreciation? That is the wear and tear which takes place, the amount of money which I am spending in the repair of a car, in its servicing and all that, that is called as depreciation. Similarly, as I have mentioned also that suppose the value of a currency depreciates, wherein we find that the value of dollar, suppose if it depreciates, then what happens? Because of the depreciation, the entire British economy is going to get affected. When a value of a currency depreciates, the entire economy gets affected, because everything, the economy is nothing but an activity of buying and selling. So, this buying and selling of the goods and services, when we are speaking about the national income, is entirely affected when we are speaking about the depreciation. So, depreciation, as we all know, it refers to the wear and tear. It refers to a decrease in the value of an asset. The value of an asset, it keeps decreasing because of this wear and tear, because of this maintenance and all that. Example, as I have already told, that the currency value depreciates, Indian currency value depreciates in terms of a dollar, can be given an example of depreciation. And some other examples, as we have mentioned, that a truck which we have purchased, but we know that its value will depreciate and the amount of the wear and tear is around 20,000 rupees per year is the amount of depreciation that can be taken into consideration. Similarly, I have given an example of a car which we are buying and we know that the 57% will be the amount of depreciation, is again a wear and tear. So, what is the formula for the depreciation? The formula for the depreciation is equal to net investment is equal to gross investment minus depreciation. So, from the gross investment, how much money I have spent in buying a car? I have spent 10 lakh to purchase a car. That becomes my gross investment, my total investment. I have invested the money which is equal to around 10 lakhs. Similarly, I have purchased a truck. The truck investment is also equal to how much is the money? 10 lakh. So, 10 lakh becomes the gross investment, the total investment that we do. In anything we buy, it can be a machine, it can be a commodity, it can be a product that we buy, that becomes our gross investment. From this gross investment, what we are supposed to do? We have to deduct, we have to minus all the wear and tear. So, what is the wear and tear? The value of an asset which keeps on depreciating, the value of an asset which keeps on reducing, that causes an wear and tear. So, when we minus this wear and tear, that is called as the depreciation charges. So, when we minus the depreciation charges, this gives us the net investment. As I have already mentioned, the gross investment of a truck is 10 lakh and depreciation is 20,000 rupees into 5 years if you do. So, around 2 lakhs we are spending on depreciation, wear and tear. So, what is my net investment? Is around 8 lakhs rupees. So, this is the way we can explain this concept of depreciation. It is applicable for the machines, it is applicable for the currency, it is applicable for the in the economy when we are buying the goods and services. It is applicable in terms of the currencies depreciating, in terms it's depreciating its value when we are doing an exchange, when we are doing an exchange of Indian rupee with the other currency, with the dollar. We already know that how much the currency rupee has devalued, it has depreciated in terms of dollar, and what is the demand for the dollar than the Indian rupee. That will give us an idea about a topic which is called as the depreciation. So, actually depreciation is nothing but the wear and tear or the loss in the value of an asset. Any asset when it is losing its value is nothing else but a depreciation. So, I am sure that this concept will make you to understand each concepts that you have learnt today will definitely help you to understand as to how the economy is working and how are we calculating the national income when we are studying about the various concepts that comes under it.